Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro affirmed that peace has won in the country against the constant fascism attacks by the national and international far right. Thousands of people demonstrated on Wednesday in Costa Rica to defend public education, one of the pillars of its historic welfare state. And Israel intensifies its side of the West Bank during the last hours, where it killed at least 11 Palestinian citizens, aims at the deployment of genocidal troops. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll begin with the news. Stay with us. In Venezuela, President Nicolas Maduro affirmed that peace has triumphed in the country against the constant fascism attacks of the national and international extreme right. After receiving in Caracas a great popular mobilization in defense of democracy, sovereignty, and against violence promoted by extremist sectors of the far right, the Venezuelan head of state assured that in Venezuela it was possible to defeat fascism that in recent years has sought to undermine the peace of free peoples of the world. In this sense, he urged the people to remain alert for any kind of situation that destabilizes the country. On the other hand, he assured that a speech of fraud of the extreme right is an undeniable statement which is demonstrated in each one of the mobilization they call.
30 days of beautiful battle for the truth. Because the battle that we have given and that we are winning is for the truth of a country. They have wanted to impose a story to justify violence. They have wanted to spread hatred, to justify division, intolerance. But today we can say to the story of lies. Today we can say the truth, and the love of the vast majority of this people has triumphed.
Likewise, the Venezuelan president affirmed that with the mobilization attended May this Wednesday by the Venezuelan extreme right wing, they'd finish dissolving when they realize that they cannot go over the law and constitution.
The fascists there are defeated. The Sayona was defeated today. The Sayona was defeated, but why? Because she lives on the lie of the ego. Because she believes she is above the law, the Constitution. Because she believes that only counting on the support of the American empire is enough.
Also, the Venezuelan head of state announced that the ultra-right wing spokesman Viallo Pieri was arrested by order of the Venezuelan Attorney General's office on charges of inciting hatred of the country's public authorities.
Because his spokesman, a man named teleSUR, who was captured today by order of the prosecutor's office because he is one of the main instigators of the disregard of the public authorities and the law in Venezuela, is already in the hands of the prosecutor's office. Because his spokesman on July 18th, Mr. teleSUR, claimed that they would not recognize the official results and would only recognize his alleged minutes, because he refused to attend the court summons of the TSJ, when it is mandatory.
During the day, the extreme right sectors were also concentrated in the capital, Caracas. The concentration took place in the east of the city, especially in the municipality of Chacao. Aerial images revealed the low participation that had this activity called by the opposition of ultra-right Maria Corina Machado. The lack of assistance from demonstrators has been a concern throughout the call for mobilizations made by the extreme right that has insisted on a campaign of ignorance of the public authorities of the country, as well as to official results of the presidential elections of July 28th. The president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, announced changes in his executive cabinet in order to adjust the strength of the government to better meet the needs of the people. During the meeting for the balance of the second national popular consultation, the president highlighted the potential of this electoral process held on Sunday, August 25th. In this addition, he points out that there is a participatory democratic conscience in the people of Venezuela. He also highlighted that the country has reached a new point of maturity to reach a democratic state. In this sense, the head of state presented the changes in his government cabinet in order to consolidate the new phase of the construction of the popular self-government. And the King of Jordan, Abdullah II, congratulated on Wednesday the Venezuelan head of state, Nicolas Maduro, for his victory in the July 28 presidential elections. In an official letter dated August 28, the monarch expressed his compliment to the Bolivarian leader on behalf of the Jordanian people and government, and emphasized his desire to deepen the tide of friendship and cooperation with the Latin American nation. King Abdullah II also wishes President Maduro and the Venezuelan people a future of success, prosperity, and progress. Let's take a short break, but remember you can now join us on our TikTok account at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. Thousands of people demonstrated on Wednesday in Costa Rica to defend public education, one of the pillars of its historic welfare state, which has been undermined by the lack of investment by the Rodrigo Chavez government. Students, teachers, union members, and professionals filled the main avenue of San Jose in a noisy and colorful protest demanding a large budget for a sector that has been key for the country to have the lowest poverty rates in Central America. The demonstrators complained about the Chavez government's refusal to allocate 8% of the GDP to education as stipulated in the Constitution. The Ministry of Education received a voucher for the 2024 the equivalent to 5.2% of GDP. For 2025, the estimate of the Ministry of Finance is only 4.7%.
The Costa Rica that was once famous no longer exists. Today, we are so poor or in the process of becoming poorer, which is dramatic for us because I come from a generation that grew up with a social state that allowed us to rise out of poverty and attend university. That is being lost, and that is what we are trying to reclaim with these and other activities to come.
Honestly, I feel it is disrespectful because they know very well that without higher education, there are no professionals for our country, and they want to take away our opportunity to continue studying.
In Argentina, retired and active workers will demonstrate in defense of the pension and mobility law approved by the Senate and to reject President Javier Milei's veto threat. The protest will start at 3 p.m. local time from the nation's Congress to the Plaza de Mayo. Over 35 social, trade unions, and students' organizations will be present. Demonstrators will demand the increase of pension, the removal of privilege retirements, the defense of provincial funds and special regimes, which implied a higher contribution during their working life. Union leaders assured that the veto is part of a wider government plan to defund the pension system and move towards its privatization. 76 years ago, on August 28, 1948, social activist and Argentina's first lady at the moment, Maria Eva Duarte de Perón, known as Evita, published the so-called Decalogue of Rights of Seniors. The document recognized for the first time in the nation the rights of senior citizens, which includes the right to assistance, housing, food, health and spiritual care, clothing, work, respect, entertainment, and freedom from worry. These rights were incorporated in the Argentine Constitution of 1949 and led to the paradigm shift to broke with a welfare approach in relation to the elderly. The universalization of these measures made it possible for the senior citizens to live a fuller and more autonomous life and with more acquired rights. Moving on, Israel intensifies its siege of the West Bank during the last hours, where it killed at least 11 Palestinian civilians, aims the deployment of genocidal troops. In this regard, the governor of Jenin assured that this is the largest operation to take place in the area since 2002, while denouncing the Israeli threat to occupy one of the hospitals, which houses more than 200 health workers that take care of at least 150 patients. China's foreign ministry published a report revealing that the National Endowment for Democracy nonprofit foundations promotes subversive and destabilizing activities in several countries around the world. The report shows that a foundation established in 1983 by the then U.S. President Ronald Reagan uses so-called human rights movements to demand changes in the government. It finances media and digital platforms of NGOs to train and instigate what they call color revolutions. In Cuba alone, the need has found 54 anti-Cuban organizations since 2017. In Mexico, they support Mexicans Against Corruption and the Institute for Competitiveness, through which they have tried to stop important social gains for the Mexican people, such as the electric power reform. This Wednesday, traders in Pakistan went on a strike, shutting down their businesses in all major cities and urban areas to protest a rise in electricity costs and new taxes imposed on shop owners. The government of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has steadily raised electricity prices since Pakistan last month struck a deal with the International Monetary Fund for a new $7 billion loan. The higher cost of living and price hikes have triggered widespread discontent and drowned protests.
Inflation is so high, it has become so difficult for us to run businesses. People are being forced to leave this country. There is no point in doing business. Electricity bills are so high. One can either pay the electricity bill or meet one's other household expenditures. So many taxes have been imposed.
The government should give us relief. The whole market is closed in protest. Everyone is supporting the strike because no one is breaking even. How will people pay? They cannot pay from their own pockets. It is so difficult to do business in Pakistan. That's why.
Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to watch interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. One financial break, don't go away. Welcome back. A World Health Organization Emergency Commission of Africa scientists hold the international community responsible for the aggressive outbreak of mpox affecting the continent. Commission leader Dr. Dimier Oguina said that decades of neglect and inability of the international community have led to the spread of a new, more transmissible version of the virus that countries with few resources cannot stop. Ogaina stated that for years, Mpox spreads only sadly affects homosexuals or bisexual men. Now, with this next inability of other countries to contain the virus in populations with low immunity, children and women suffers from it and even become potential fatalities. A newly released from by the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OSHA, says years of underfunding of humanitarian aid and increasing needs have put millions of Haitians at risk of chronic vulnerability. The UN Humanitarian Office said reserving the situation will require the international community and donors to increase funding for both UN and non-governmental organizations' relief operations. Months of armed violence have led to the deterioration of Haiti's humanitarian crisis that has left nearly 600,000 people displaced. Changing topics. The 17th edition of the Paralympic Games kick off on Wednesday with the opening ceremony at the Palace La Concorde and Champs-Élysées. This way, with an expected audience of 15,000 spectators, the ceremony marks the beginning of the 12-day sport made in Paris, a city still enthusiastic after the successful recent Olympics. The Games has offered 1,400 Paralympic athletes from around the world who compete in 549 medals events across 22 sports. In Italy, the 81st Venice Film Festival officially began on Wednesday, marking the start of the prestigious film celebration that will run through September 7th. The present edition of the festival promises star-studded appearances and screening of anticipated films like Todd Films, The Joker, Folie à Deux, Paulo Larraín's films, Maria Sisterin, Angelina Jolie, and Pedro Almodóvar's first English language production. The event will also feature a section of films by American directors with 3 South American filmmakers, Darín from Chile, Walter Salles from Brazil, and Luis Ortega from Argentina competing for the Golden Lion Award.
My concern, and perhaps the concern of us all, is that cinema should continue to live as long as possible. We know that it has been weakened recently, and we also know what it takes. I know this personally, but I'm not a director, I'm just an actress. But we know what it takes in terms of courage, endurance, solitude, determination, to bring a unique voice to life, to make a film. My concern is to make sure that these words can continue to be spoken, that they can continue to exist for as long as possible. But that's why a festival like Venice exists. It's like an ecosystem that is more necessary than ever to proclaim these values. So I'm really happy to be here.
We have come to the end of this brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram as well. For Telesur English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.